Now on CoastTV News.
Classic cars and veteran stories. OC Cruisin is back in town. Dry conditions in Delaware are raising the fire risk. How a burn ban could help.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News Midday. Cruisin Ocean City is off to the races. The 35th annual event will feature thousands of fancy cars driving along the coast. Charles Glenn just turned 90 years old and drove all the way from North Carolina with his friends and family to show Special Forces artwork he has under the hood and telling stories of his time in the service.
I just enjoy the show up here, and the people are really friendly. We enjoy it.
You have until the end of Sunday to stop by and check out all of the cool cars cruising in Ocean City. Also starting today, the Delaware burn ban season goes into effect. If you drive through places like Georgetown and Milton, you will see very dry grass, as you can see on your screen, the different color in those grasses. And Denrick says the burn ban is critical to improve the air quality. Fire officials say the types of burning allowed during the ban includes campfires in designated camping areas and cooking fires such as grills and barbecues.
Just be mindful of that if you're cooking near a house, siding, vinyl siding, those sort of things are extremely flammable, decks and that sort of thing. So just be mindful of your surroundings and have some means of extinguishment nearby.
For now, the open burning ban is in effect through September 30th. And now we're going to take a live look outside into Dover and bring in our first alert meteorologist, Bob Trihey, to join us to look at the forecast. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Brandon. We're looking at a good-looking day across Delmarva. Lots of blue skies out there right now. We have a big temperature contrast. It's cooler at the beaches right now. We go from 58 at Indian River Inlet to 78 at Seaford as we have an onshore flow, so 50s and 60s at the beaches. But then you go not too far inland. We're into the 70s, 74 Georgetown, Redden, and once again 78 in Seaford as we have this east-southeasterly breeze. Right now we are seeing gusts over 20 miles per hour in Millsboro, so we'll be a little breezy as we go into the afternoon, but a nice area of clear skies right now across Sussex County. Some clouds to the north and to the south as we have this onshore flow, warm front to the south. We could see a marine layer building in as we go into the afternoon and evening hours, especially at the coast. A little bit of fog there, but noon on Futurecast has a mild inland, mid to upper 70s. I think we're 50s and low 60s at the beaches. And then with this onshore flow, we could see a little bit of fog, maybe some drizzle later this afternoon, while it's very mild and dry for the most part inland areas. And this evening will be rather dry as temperatures are in the 70s inland, 60s at the coast, and a little bit of fog and drizzle as we go into tonight. Then the 80s are back tomorrow into Saturday with a chance of rain, maybe an extended period of rain, end of the weekend into next week. More on that coming up a little bit later in the newscast.
Thank you, Bob. Today we are expecting an update on Fenwick Island's work on a nature preserve. It is one of the few pieces of undeveloped land left in the town. Fenwick Island's Green Infrastructure Working Group has scheduled time to learn about Oakey Preserve's landscaping. It was just a few weeks ago that the Environmental Committee member Deborah Cowell asked the town council to pay nearly $2,000 to landscape architect Carol Anderson Austria for a plan and rendering. The hope is to have a dedication ceremony this fall. For Georgetown drivers, there's a road closure starting this Friday, tomorrow, May 2nd at 5 a.m. On your screen now is Wood Branch Road. Now, only part of this road will be closed, not the entire road, just the parts in between Sussex Pines Road and Cedar Lane. This work is expected to last through next Thursday, May 8th, and this is all a part of the Delmarva Central Railroad crews that have been working on roads throughout Georgetown, and detours will be in place for both directions. Last night, a discussion on substance use and abuse. It was a collaboration with BB Healthcare and Soundcheck Prevention. Soundcheck is a substance abuse prevention organization that had a presentation at the Cape Henlopen High School, followed by a Q&A session allowing both students and parents to be involved.
I was enticed to come because it said, you know, come and talk, let's talk about what the latest research says, what's available information here, more information to be able to talk to my kids. I have 2 daughters, and one is about to graduate high school, but they'll continue to be young adults, and as they're being, you know, launched into the world, if you will, it would be important for me to be able to talk with them in the language that is today's language.
Students who've shown interest in getting involved were invited to join the Health and Wellness Committee at Cape Henlopen High School to help plan future events. New this morning, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer is ready to sign an executive order creating the Office of Gun Violence Prevention and Community Safety. The office will operate under the Department of Safety and Homeland Security. Meyer claims it will use data-driven policy in the effort of reducing gun-related injuries and deaths. The signing was scheduled for today at 9 a.m. at Legislative Hall. Time is running out if you still haven't secured your real ID. If you don't have a real ID or another accepted form of identification, such as a passport, you can face delays at airport security. You can accept an additional screening and the possibility of not being allowed beyond the security checkpoint if your identity cannot be verified there. The Department of Homeland Security is set to enforce this deadline starting on May 7th. Happening in Maryland, the state police says will conduct statewide DUI patrols this weekend, which is Cinco de Mayo weekend. There is a focus on routes 13 and 50 and state routes 404 and 413. According to the Maryland Department of Transportation, on average, 158 lives are lost as a result of impaired driving. And coming up next on Coast TV News Midday, a world difference, the positive effect of the simple act of boxing up shoes in Ocean Pines.
It started out as a group of friends just walking around a neighborhood together, but it turned into a movement. And now it's worldwide, making a difference one shoe at a time. In today's Coastal Connections, reporter Kevin Zappe shows us what this group is doing and how you can help.
If you check your closets, you might find some forgotten shoes taking up space, but now those shoes can be used for good. You can hand them over to the Teal Bay Mitzvah team in Ocean Pines.
I think so far we've shipped out about 150 pairs in total.
Since March, Margaret Novak and her friends have been working with the Souls for Souls nonprofit organization to get shoe donations, which will provide footwear to people in need across the U.S. and around the world.
Third world countries where small micro entrepreneurs receive them and set up businesses to sell them. And these people now have a sustainable income. They go to crisis areas, many in the United States.
So where can you donate your shoes to make a difference? There are locations all spread out around Ocean Pines where you could drop off your shoes. From there, the Mitzvah team will put them in boxes, tape them up, load them in a car, and drop them off at Michael's, where they will then be sent over to Souls for good use. Novak loves all the support from Ocean Pines and hopes to see more in the future.
They can all play a role. They can all help by dropping off their shoes. And we're getting ready for the summer. It's wonderful here. But we can live here and still make a difference in the world.
On May 17th, they will be at the Ocean Pines season kickoff event where they'll be gathering more donations and reminding people that small things like a pair of shoes can make a world of difference. I'm Kevin Zappe in Ocean Pines, Coast TV News.
We're looking at a cooler day across Delmarva, but still really nice. Look at a sun-splashed SU right now on the Spicer Brothers cam. Lots of blue skies, 74 in Salisbury, and you could rise close to 80 this afternoon. The farther inland you go, the warmer it will be. It'll be cooler at the beaches, so a big temperature contrast, over 20 degrees from the coast to inland areas, as we'll be in the 70s inland, 60s at the beaches with the onshore flow. That's short-lived because we're going to be getting back into the warmth on your Friday, and maybe a late day shower or thunderstorm, but I think a better chance of a steadier rain building in over the weekend, and that could stay around for a while. Here's that temperature contrast I was talking about. 59 at Indian River, Inlet, and Rehoboth, but it's 79 in Seaford, 75 in Laurel. We've got low to mid 70s in between, 73 in Millsboro, Willard, 75. Cool at the coast, but you don't have to go too far inland to get into the warmer air, as we are in an east-southeast flow right now. So I think the fire danger is a little lower today with the higher humidity and the flow coming off the ocean, and it's a little cooler too. And at times winds gusting over 20 miles per hour. Visible satellite pictures showing a nice area of clear skies over Delaware, really much of Delmarva, some clouds to the north and some clouds to the south, as well as a warm front southern tip of Delmarva. And north of that, we have an east-southeast flow around high pressure, and that is bringing in that cooler air and possibly a marine layer later today with some fog and drizzle at the coast. That could spread inland as well with high pressure to the north. So we're dry now, but we've got a messy system back to the west with rain across the Midwest all the way down to the Gulf Coast with an area of low pressure and a cold front, and that system will slowly head our way into the weekend. But today, looking at sun and some clouds as well, 70s inland, 50s and 60s at the beaches. So you'll rise a few more degrees. That's about it. Then I think as we go into the afternoon and evening, we could start to see that marine layer working in with maybe a little bit of drizzle at the beaches, some clouds inland, but farther inland 70s, but cooler 50s and 60s the farther east you go. Then those winds turn more southwesterly tonight as a warm front moves in, and it'll be mild Friday morning into the mid 60s and then 70s mid-morning. By 1 p.m., look at this, we shoot into the low 80s away from the coast, 60s and 70s at the beaches. And in that very warm air with mid-80s mid-afternoon, it could pop off a shower or a thunderstorm, just very isolated, but I think it stays very mild as we go into the evening hours. We have those winds east-southeast up to about 20 miles per hour, then they start to shift to the southwest, and they'll get gusty tomorrow, I think maybe up to about 30 miles per hour at times, but it'll be warm. Now, looking ahead Sunday through Tuesday, we have an upper-level low back to our west, and that will bring in periods of rain and showers over about a 4-day period. I think we're dry on Saturday, but then Saturday night into Sunday, as a cold front gets closer, we're looking at showers, maybe some of those heavy. We'll see breaks too, but I think that rain chance continues right into Wednesday morning, so much needed rain on the way at that time. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 73 today up to 84 Friday, 83 on Saturday with partly cloudy skies. Then the showers build in Sunday, 74. Looks like a wet Cinco de Mayo, 71 degrees. Still a little rainy into Tuesday and maybe early Wednesday, and then finally drying out later Wednesday and a high of 76.
And here's a look at what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Life at 4.
When the weather starts changing here on coastal Delmarva, you're going to need a new look to suit all of that. That's going to be one of the things coming up today on Coast Life.
And earlier this week, we talked about the value of vacations, but when we spilled the tea this week, the question is, what if you don't want to take that vacation with your family? Maybe you got some other things in mind. Is that okay? Is it not? We're going to get into the discussion.
Ah, yes, the family vacation. It's always fun, and it's always at least a touch dramatic. Sometimes more than that. All that fun is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life. We'll see you there.
Here's what's coming up today on DSN at 4. Bayside Conference softball. One Decatur travels to Mardella, then into the trenches, and then it's the final score. On the DSN Plus app, you get that softball game along with the Bayside Conference baseball matchup with North Dorchester and Richardson. Henlopen Conference basketball at 4:15 when Sussex Tech hosts Laurel, and Sussex Central home with Indian River. In high school softball, Lake Forest travels to Smyrna. And we are approaching the first Saturday in May, and that means the 151st Kentucky Derby. You can watch this year's Kentucky Derby right here on Coast TV. Coverage begins this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. It helps to prevent cavities and gum disease, but caring for the health of your mouth is also important for your overall health. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the impact bad oral health has on your entire body.
It allows you to eat and to speak, but your mouth needs care, and that starts with your teeth.
We always say only take care of the ones that you want to keep.
Periodontist Dr. Sasha Ross with Cleveland Clinic says oral disease may not cause any pain, so many times it's not treated until reaching a more serious stage. Some of the most common diseases and conditions that affect oral health are cavities, which is tooth decay, gum diseases, oral cancers, and tooth loss. It can also impact overall health.
There's many studies that link your oral health to conditions like cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, in women, preterm low birth weight babies.
In the U.S., 57% of children and youth aged 12 through 19 have had cavities in their permanent teeth. As for adults, 90% have had a cavity. Experts say the best way to prevent decay and protect the health of your mouth is by brushing teeth at least twice daily, flossing every day, limiting foods and drinks that are high in added sugar, and getting a checkup and professional cleaning at least yearly.
It's super important to find a dentist and a dental hygienist that you work well with, and to not be afraid to go in and take care of your mouth.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Sunny and 75 right now on the, I should say the FH Fur Cam in Cambridge, and we're looking at mid to upper 70s, close to 80 there. Cooler at the beaches as we go into the afternoon, warming up Friday into the weekend with rain chances increasing then. Congratulations to Jeff Kimball from Milton. He has a new umbrella. From Paul Davis and Coast TV, your 10-day forecast is next. We'll see partly cloudy skies this afternoon, a big temperature contrast, 50s and low 60s at the beaches, close to 80 well inland, and 70s in between. Remember, another way to get your forecast is the Coast TV First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mandalis, Federico. Your 10-day forecast has us in the 80s Friday and Saturday. Better rain chances Sunday through Tuesday, 74 Sunday. Looks like a wet Cinco de Mayo, and that rain continues into Tuesday, then drying out for a time on Wednesday.
Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Have a great day.